I love coffee. Coffee gives me happiness.
I grew up around coffee. We like to joke in the family that we have our brown blood, not red. The love that people have for coffee is something that no ancestor of mine could have ever imagined.
On a day, people consume over 2 billion cups of coffee.
Those who love to drink coffee might not be aware of the challenges that a farmer are facing. The climate change is affecting the coffee production. Coffee, it might disappear.
In some ways, nature calls our attention. Coffee is a bush that grows in the wilderness under the canopy of the trees. When you look at a coffee bush out of the season, it's just green. But if you come to the coffee fields here in Costa Rica in April, May, June, then the coffee fields will be white because of the flower. So the flower is white, it smells like jasmine, and you see there's all the bees around looking for the pollen. From November, it's turning red, the fruits. You taste them, they don't taste like coffee. It is in the moment when you process the coffee, remove all the layers, and roast, when you get this aroma and this flavor. My name is Guillermo Vargas Leiton, born here in Monteverde 60 years ago. We grew up growing coffee. Now I'm working in education, conservation of nature, and farming. So in a range of altitude between 1,000 and 14 or 1,500 meters above the sea level is a good altitude for Arabica.
Coffee is grown between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and it's known as the coffee belt. Coffee needs a lot of rain in some stage, but also it needs some dryness. My name is Godfrey Wilgod. I'm the coffee and climate coordinator here in the southern part of Tanzania. Climate change is happening. The rise in temperature can really stress the coffee plant. This can lead to dying of the plant itself.
In 30 years to come, coffee production might be very low due to some areas are becoming unfavorable for coffee growing.
In the last 35 years, the temperature in Monteverde went up 2 degrees Celsius. The number of dry days went up from 30 to 100 dry days a year. But it also rains more. We almost doubled the precipitation this time.
This is very stressful for plants. They are used to certain patterns, and the rate of change that is happening is faster than their capabilities of adaptation.
Uzalishaji unapungua, kwamba maua mengi yanaharibika baada ya kukosa maji kwa wakati mwafaka.
Hali tulio nayo sasa hivi ina utata, ambayo hatujui kama ni neema au ni balaa, kwa sababu mafuriko mengi, halafu chakula mashambani huwa mara nyingi mvua ikizidi mbolea inapotea na maji. Kwa hata mazao yenyewe tunapata kwa wasiwasi. Hii hali inasumbua.
We have seen the coming up of new pests. Most of them are caused by the change in climate.
So this is a coffee tree. It's affected by the coffee berry disease. We can see that the berries are drying out. Some of them are falling down. And if it is still not controlled, it might reach to, 100% loss.
Esto es un problema por mucha lluvia. Esto es un hongo que se llama ojo de gallo. Afecta las hojas y afecta los granos.
If the temperature continues moving up, more problem with diseases, more cost to grow the Arabica, and then eventually most of the small farmers growing coffee won't succeed.
I'm worried because farmers are affected, but also because I love to drink coffee. I'm worried if this keeps happening, I will not be able to have a cup of coffee a day.
People may suffer, so something needs to be done. The initiative for coffee and climate was launched to help farmers combat the effect of climate change. Our farmers are quite far. We can travel at times up to 200 kilometers. So it's quite challenging, especially during this rainy season. As you can see, it's bumpy where we are now.
My name is Mwajuma Hamis Mwangu. I'm working with HRNS as agronomy coordinator. Coffee farmers need to understand clearly that there is a climate change effect.
But also they need awareness on the techniques or innovations to adapt.
It's hard for them alone to take these measures.
Kwa tabu kidogo, kwa sababu kipindi kile tulikuwa hatujui namna ya kuweka matandazo. Tulikuwa tunalima tu kienyeji na kuacha hivyo hivyo. Walivyotufundisha tukaanza kuweka matandazo na kupiga dawa vizuri. Angalau mabadiliko yapo.
You can be able to see the integration of banana plants. During the drought, the trees are as a cover for crop, moderating the temperature within the coffee farms.
Sasa pale tunaweka migomba hii inafunika mti ambao hauwezi kupata jua lile la moja kwa moja. Halafu linafanya niwe na kipato cha kila wiki. Kwa wakati unakuta leo navuna ndizi, napata shilingi 300 ambayo naweza kaendesha familia kabla sijavuna kahawa.
And the good thing, most of these practices are something they can all do.
Great biodiversity is natural to the tropics. agriculture should follow the rules of the natural context, we should protect for the long-term biodiversity. We are introducing more shade. To lower the temperature, you enter the forest, the temperature goes down maybe 2 degrees Celsius, which is what we need. So shade ground is you get your crop and you still protect the forest. But you have to find the right balance. We keep the forest, then we do small plots of coffee. So the trees are more around the coffee plot. So the sun will get this plant not at 6, not at 7, maybe at 9 because of those trees. Every element of nature must provide more than one benefit. Well, so if you ask me, Guillermo, go planting trees because they support wildlife. Okay, great. But eventually I will turn them into wood, and I will make from this tree more money than from the 50 coffee bushes around. The forest is food for the leaf-cutter ants. If we remove the forest and we only grow coffee, so the leaf-cutter ants come for our crops. What is the economic benefits of shade ground? Should we wait for the moment we sell the coffee, or there is another way? There are some studies about how much money we save in terms of pest control because of the birds. You see the birds going on the coffee bushes, eating many different insects. So they are great predators of insects that are pests in our crop. So if I tell you that birds build some nests on the coffee fields, it's true. There are some experiments, they're trying to remove all the birds out of a coffee field, and they found that the impact of the board beetle was 70% higher. So there are many reasons to protect the forest because in the long term it benefits the coffee. In order to prevent diseases, it's a combination of strategies. Probably the best one is improve the soil conditions. Here we are filling the bags for the new coffee seedlings. So it's a mix of soil and compost that we prepare. We make the soil richer. Some of the soil comes from the forest.
This is the part of the process of the coffee. We start from here.
We have different kinds of compost. This was the last batch we did months ago. This is coffee pulp, the coffee husk, the second layer of the coffee, the chicken poop and goat manure. Here we reproduce the worms and we feed them with the coffee grounds. When you put this back to the soil, it brings life. And it stays and reproduces. When you put synthetic fertilizer, it works for the season, it's gone, and you have to buy more and more and more. And that's not economically sustainable for the farmer. The more nutrients in the soil, the better fed the plant is, the stronger it is against the diseases. Like us, the humans, it's not about taking pills, it is trying to eat better food. We believe more on sustainable farming. It's this combination of coffee, forest, food, community, and quality. In the long term, we provide more benefits to nature.
The old way of producing coffee has been really damaging. There have been massive use of pesticides and fungicides, which has an effect to the surrounding people. But coffee plantation can be sustainable in a way that not only protects coffee from effects of climate change, but also protect the environment and the people who live in it.
If you are taking care of the environment, it means you assure the sustainability of the coffee, because you are taking care of the water sources, of the forest, and all things related to.
Hace 4 o 5 años, una estudiante que quería estudiar las especies de pájaros, entonces ella ponía redes para capturar aves, para seguirlas un poco más, y me preguntaba por qué en su campo de producción fue donde más pájaros pude encontrar. La respuesta es clara, que al no usar productos químicos, los pájaros, las abejas, las mariposas, les gusta más alimentarse en ese campo que en otros campos donde se usan productos químicos.
Santa Anita is the first carbon neutral farm in the world. We knew exactly how much we were emitting per bag of coffee produced. We just had to lower that footprint. What we did was invest in a solar array that provides around 90% of the electrical consumption of the mill. After 6 years of work, we effectively became carbon neutral. The world is not ready to pay more for a carbon neutral product, especially in coffee where prices are very competitive. The main aim to reach this status was to influence the other producers to join the train, believe that you can clean your processes, believe that you can do things better every day.
It all go together. So I produce for now, but I also reserve the environment, and I make like a foundation for the other generations to continue benefiting from what I'm doing right now. Women is #1 person who mostly been affected by the climate change effects. She is responsible for the family. With climate change, it becomes very difficult for a woman to get firewood in its long distance of walking to fetch water. Without fire and water, nothing will be done. I mean, no water, no life. We are empowering women to deal with the effect of climate change, to take over different responsibilities. Women are getting more time coming to the trainings. Once we train them on the alternatives, like rainwater harvest, like energy-saving stoves, we see more women involved in the coffee sector. I'm seeing myself as a role model to the other women. It's like, wow, if she can do agronomy, why should I not go for it?
Zamani ilikuwa ni mfumo wa mwanaume yeye kuwa na mazao ya kudumu kama mkulima baba. Lakini hivi sasa kwa ajili ya elimu mnayotufundisha, wakina mama wameweza kubadilika. Ambao wakina mama ukimwelimisha mama, jamii nzima itakuwa imeelimika. Kahawa tunachuma vizuri, tunaosha, tunauza, mapato yetu ni haya. Ukigawa, kesho mama humuoni tena nyumbani, uko shambani. Ni kule kwenye mikutano mnayotuita kubadilisha mawazo, akili.
I wish that the women to become a driver for the family in running the coffee business. I always speak to coffee farmers and especially women to see that there is always a change. It's switching the mentality from what they used to think and think toward the bright future.
One of the good things for me is to see farmer progressing.
Okay. Huu mradi wa ICP ulipokuja ulitunufaisha mambo mengi sana. Moja, ufahamu na uelewa wa kulima zao la kahawa. Pia tulinufaika kwa sababu tulikuwa tunawatenga sana kina mama kwenye swala la kahawa. Kwa hiyo tumepata yale mafunzo ambayo yametujengea kuwa na umoja na nguvu ndani ya familia katika uzalishaji wa kahawa.
Yaani nilivyojiunga na hii shirika, kipato kilikuja kikaongezeka, kikanisaidia kupeleka watoto shuleni, alafu nikanunua na gari ya kubebea takataka za kuweka huko shambani. Maisha ya baadaye, endapo naweza nikapata zaidi ya hapa, nategemea nijenge nyumba, niwe naishi kwenye nyumba nzuri zaidi ya hizo. Halafu na kuelimisha wenzangu ambao bado nao waelimike, waanze kuzalisha na kupata kipato kizuri.
I have seen the progress of our coffee farmer improving their productivity, but the bigger part is how they change their way of living, sharing the responsibilities, collaborating in the family.
I'm very positive that we are going to make a change because already farmers are aware of the impact of climate change.
Hili swala ni mnyororo. Sisi peke yetu hatuwezi kupata kitu kwa sababu tunawategemea wale wanaokunywa kahawa na wenyewe wanatutegemea sisi.
Por querer tener una producción de muchos años, entonces decidimos hacerlo sin químicos. Llevamos 8 años que logramos la certificación y nos va bien.
What we want to see is a real change in the world, and we have to start by ourselves so others can see it's possible and follow through.
The producer and the consumer should work together. It's not fair to put all this weight just on the shoulders of the grower. It's about protecting all of us. For people to understand sustainability or loving nature, it's not only telling them the story. We have to invite them. Go and smell, go and feel.
It is important to get connected to the origin. It gives you a credibility. You are drinking something that you know where it comes from. What consumers buy impact the livelihood, economy, and well-being. At the end, the consumer needs to be happy. So, combination of this thing, it assures we consumers that we will always have a cup of coffee. It's not only cup of coffee, but also good cup of coffee.